Hello, this is Dr. Venus Opal Reese, and welcome back to our Unleash Your Inner Badass video training. This is video number 2 of a 3-part series. We covered the first video training, which had to do with really defining our terms. Badass, self-worth, self-esteem, self-esteem money, self-worth money. And now we're going to move into the obvious next question. So I made all this fuss about the difference between self-esteem money and self-worth money. Well, the obvious question is, well, what is my self-worth? And how do I discern it? How do I find it, figure it out? How do I pimp it? Okay, we gotta go slower first. We gotta lay it out first, all right? And I'm gonna share with you how to discern your self-worth blueprint. So there's a couple of pieces we need to touch on before I unpack that term. The first thing is I need you to know that everybody has one. Okay, like everybody has a belly button practically. Everyone has a self-worth blueprint. It's like your thumbprint. It is not optional. It was forged in your lived experience. It is like your wiring. It's not going to change, okay? It's not bad. It's not good. It really is just the way you're wired. You know how there's some people who, if they could just, I don't know, not eat the cookie, they wouldn't. It's not because they're being difficult or they're being obtuse. There is something about their survival strategy that's so part of how they know themselves that it's like nails on a chalkboard for them not to go there. All right? So it's a blueprint. It's just like your thumbprint. It's unique to you. And I'm not suggesting that we don't have overlap, but everybody has their own way of knowing themselves in the world. And I'm calling that your self-worth blueprint. So I'm going to tell you a couple of stories just to really, really make plain, really make clear what I mean by self-worth blueprint. All right? And as we move forward, we'll talk more about the moneymaker that comes from this kind of conversation. And in the live event, the Be a Business Badass live event that's happening in September in Dallas, September 27th, 28th, and 29th in Dallas, okay? We're going to knock it out the park. We're going to really go deep so that you are set free by virtue of you really comprehending the power of your self-worth blueprint. So let's get started. So let's begin with the obvious. What is self-worth? So in the last video, I mentioned that your self-worth is based on valuation, which is a finance term, okay? And it's an external assessment of an asset for a community, group, or market. So what I'm asking you to do is start to imagine, start to think outside of maybe your traditional boxes around how you see yourself. See, a lot of times people equate self-worth with self-esteem. Like self-worth, like worthy. That's not what I'm speaking of. Yes, we need to feel, yes, there is something to talk about in terms of our growth. We will totally cover that. But that's not that's not this, okay? Your self-worth blueprint has to do with how you see yourself and your lived experience of yourself in life. So there's a formula. I'm going to ask you to write this down. I'm going to pick up one of my notes, okay? And I need to tell you something about self-worth, okay? There's the number one secret about self-worth. And I want to give it to you now because it's really going to make a huge difference if you allow it to. And I just want to be responsible. I'm giving you as much as I can in our video training, and I will in the teles training, okay? But I don't want to overload you, right? I want to give you bite-sized morsels so you can kind of mull it over, start thinking through it, and create new brain patterns of recognition so you can start to see new things, right? And obviously, I can't get 20 years of training into like a 10 to 13-minute video, even if it's 2. But I can get you started, all right? And for those of you who are interested in learning more about me and about my work, I'll show you how to do that later. But I don't want you to, it's going to be okay. I'm going to hold your hand, okay? I don't want you to get overwhelmed with the information, okay? So I need to make sure I pace myself that I don't like toss it all in there and have you digest it. So I'm going to slow it down to break it down for the both of us so you can digest and we can keep moving together. And again, I can't give it all to you, but I'll give you my best just to get you started, okay? If you want to take it further, I'll show you how to do that later. Fair? Okay, great. I'm imagining you're nodding like this. Okay, great. So let's just look at self-worth. And I'm going to tell you, there's something that you really need to understand. How can I say this? Your self-worth shapes your destiny. It shapes the clothes you wear, where you send your kids to school, who you talk to, how you dress, the car you drive. It's all about how you see yourself. And I would like for you to take the case that every aspect of your life, from your behavior to the way you eat your food, is a reiteration of who you are for yourself. Okay? Now, this is the main thing I'm going to invite you to consider. And this is the big secret about self-worth that most people just have no idea about. And it may seem obvious once I speak it, but when you live it, it's like, what's the problem, right? So, number one secret about self-worth, okay, is your actions are a direct correlate to who you are for yourself. So you hear people say, who are you? And more than likely, you'll answer your roles: mom, father, employee, business owner, teacher, scholar, sister. These are all your roles. But what animates those roles? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you think about it, the you that shows up at the club is not necessarily the you that shows up at church. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not necessarily the same you, but it's being energized by your essence, by who you are for yourself. And it determines your behaviors. It determines your destiny. Okay? So your actions are a direct correlate, okay, to who you are for yourself. All right? So here's a formula. I want you to write this down, please. 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 3 formula. 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 3. And underneath the first one, I'm inviting you to write down how you see yourself. Put that in parentheses. That's under the first one. How you see yourself. Under the second one, you're going to write down how you show up for others. Can you hear the difference? How you see yourself and how you show up for others are not the same. This is one of the reasons why people aren't effective with other people. They actually are not aware that how they show up for somebody else is not how they see themselves. Have you had that happen? Somebody thinks they're God's gift to the nation, and you're like, really? No, right? But you can't tell them anything because in their own sense of self, they're dancing with how they see themselves, not how they're showing up for you. And it goes the same thing for you and myself, okay? And then the third A is the auto action. You know those knee-jerk responses or knee-jerk reactions you cannot not have? You know how when you get into the argument and you know you should have stopped? And you got to get that last point in. It's like, and you kill the relationship. And then you blame the other person. Like, they didn't understand me. No, baby, you couldn't stop you from pushing that button. And you know that's a hurt. You know that's a hurtful space. But that need to be right to get the word in. You know what I mean? Like, that's an auto action. You have no say-so about that. If you could stop it, you would have done it by now. Real talk. I'm just saying. Okay? So 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 3 formula. This is the formula you use to discern your self-worth blueprint. Okay? I'm going to give you an example from my life, and I'm going to invite you to think through this for yourself. Now, again, this information is only going to be useful in terms of you start to get understanding. There's a whole system to how to monetize this that I'll be covering in the Be a Business Badass live event that there's no way I can get in. I can't get into it. It won't make sense, right? But I want you to understand how it works so you can start to see, whoa, how does this feel on my body? Oh my goodness, this is me, because it is you. I'm just saying, all right? So what you want to do is I'm going to take myself for myself. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example, and then I'll tell you about myself. So how you see yourself, let's say if you see yourself as second rate. I'm not saying you'll say that, right? I'm saying that in the quiet moments when you're, crying in your closet, or if you're anything like me, you turn the water up in the shower so no one can hear you crying because your feelings are so hurt, or you feel so frustrated that you're not where you want to be in your life and you thought you would be by now, right? So, you know, you play music loud, so no one knows, right? I'm talking about that self, not your representative. Okay, I'm talking about you to you. And if you see yourself as second rate, all right, that's how you see yourself. So how you're going to show up to other people is someone who has to prove it. See how that works? It's a correlate. It's a perfect match, right? So if you consider yourself second rate, you're going to take the actions of a person who sees herself as second rate, which is going to show up for them as you're trying to prove it. Okay? And the auto action that's going to come out of you is going to be defensive, curt, aggressive talk. Can you see how this works? It's like 1 + 1 + 1 = 3. All right? And if you look in your life, it'll explain a lot of misunderstandings. It'll explain a lot of ineffectiveness. Okay? It will explain a lot of upset, a lot of brokenheartedness, a lot of anger and resentment. Because if you don't know your blueprint, you don't know what you're leaving with people. See, you don't know your worth. You don't know how powerful you are. Because if you knew, you would be moved to tears. And you would be making millions. Because you have the capacity. You're already successful. But you're not effective. I'm not saying you're not working it. I'm saying you're not optimizing it. Because your blueprint is running the show, not you. Okay? So I think that pretty much covers it. I'm going to give you one more example. And then I'm going to segue to the actual teleseminar, because that's going to be about your moneymaker. See, with your self-worth blueprint, something happens in your life and you decide something about yourself. So for me, when I was around, I think 12, I can't remember, y'all, my birth mother, let's call her mama, she took a pair of scissors and she cut all my hair off. I had a jerry curl, right? And I thought I was cute. And I remember her saying, and I can't remember, honestly, I don't know if she was high, I don't know if she was drunk, I don't know. But she said, now no one will look at you, right? And I remember deciding in that moment that I was stupid. I also decided I was ugly, and I also decided I had to get away from her, right? But I was stupid because I didn't move. Now, granted, if we think about it in terms of like brain development, at that age, I had to have full capacity. Your brain takes like till 28 or 35, depends on what you read, to develop full capacity. But in that moment, I felt like I was stupid because I didn't move. Now, I'm going to tell you, only a stupid person will go get 4 degrees. Why? To cover up that she's stupid or to prove that she's not. All right? So how it looks to others is driven. Do you see what I'm saying? And that's how you start to discern it. Okay? That's how you start to discern it. So there's some other pieces to it, but that's enough for now. Again, bite-sized pieces. All right? And I'm going to get you set up for our next conversation, which is killer. All right? And it's all about finding really just where the heck is your $1 million moneymaker? Well, you're looking in the wrong place. And we're going to go into discovering exactly where to find your $1 million moneymaker. You have one. All right? I promise you, you are sitting on a gold mine. And you don't even know it. But I know it because I know where to look for it. And I'm going to show you how to do that in our upcoming teleclass. Okay? And we'll be going over literally discovering your $1 million moneymaker, where it is, how to discern it, and really getting up under that so you get a comprehensive understanding like, oh my God, I actually have $1 million moneymaker. Okay? And that's what we're working on. So again, this is Dr. Venus Opal-Reese. It's a joy to know you and love you. And I'll see you on the call. You look in your inbox and you'll get the call information.